Hey, writers, I hope that you all have been prospering in your purpose and dominating in your destiny. Welcome to another Writing Wings episode. And in this episode, we are going to discuss time management for creatives. And so, if you're doing something beyond just writing, if you're building, if you're creating, these time management tips are going to help you to be successful so that you can produce at optimal capacity, so that you can increase your productivity. If you're excited about increasing your productivity, I want you to type in the comments hashtag I produce. Before I jump in to give you my 5 time management tips, I want you to go ahead and like this video and share this out with a friend or family member that is in need of some time management help. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to our channel so that you can receive our notifications when we upload new videos. Let's jump into this. I love time management. If you have been following me, you know that that is my thing. I love to help people to increase their productivity and maximize their time by being wise about their time. And so I'm going to jump into this. The first thing I want you to type in the comments hashtag no excuses. A lot of us end up procrastinating, not producing anything at all, being stagnant in our lives because we make up all these excuses as to why we have not written this book, why we have not started this course, why we didn't start this business, why haven't we created this project, why haven't we started this nonprofit. And all of these excuses inundate our minds. And one of the things that I've learned is that when I start to debunk or when I start to put something else attached to that excuse, I start to actually move toward my goal. And so I remember a season where I just kept making excuses as to why I wasn't doing these videos, why I wasn't recording for YouTube, why. And it really was because I was like, oh, I need this, I need that, I want to have this, and I want to have that. You need to use what you have. You can also type in the comments, use what you have. You're going to increase your productivity because you're going to use the things that you already have in your disposal. Everything that you already have at hand. You have everything that you need to start. You may not know how your book is going to get published yet. You may not know which publisher you're going to go with, but you can start writing because the ideas are in your head. You may say, oh, maybe I don't have a computer. Go to the library, maybe, or borrow a computer from your family and friends. Stop making excuses. If we allow excuses to ruminate in our mind, none of us are going to move on the projects that we're supposed to be moving on. And really, a lot of the things that we're doing is time sensitive. I want you to type in the comments time sensitive. I think sometimes we live such a lackadaisical life where we don't understand that things are time sensitive. There's a time and season for everything. And so if we miss this window of opportunity, then we have to wait for something else to come. And so how about we take the leap now? And you may not have everything that you want, but are you maximizing? Are you using what you have? I love this scripture, Psalm 90, verse 12. It says, teach us to number our days so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. And so instead of saying, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, how about you start using what you have? And I feel like once you start using what you have, God is going to be able to blow on what it is that you've been using. And he's going to be able to honor the fact that you steward the opportunities, you stewarded the things that you had in your possession, you were able to maximize those things. And once you have maximized those things, he's able to give you more because you didn't despise small beginnings. You didn't despise the little by little that was in your midst. You were able to take advantage of those opportunities. You were able to just say, you know what, this is all that I have, and I'm going to go full throttle on what is already in my hand. So like me, you don't have all the equipment you want. Do you have an iPhone? Do you have a stand? Do you have a place to sit? Go ahead and start recording and stop making up all these excuses because you're only delaying yourself. You're only putting yourself, you're waiting the next year. You have to come to a resolve that enough is enough. And I had to stay on that point a lot because excuses is hindering many of us from going to the next level. You think that you're supposed to be at this level and you haven't even maximized this level yet because you're still making excuses. Type that's me if that was for you. Use what you have. Number 2, we are going to choose writing days and writing times. If you know that you have a deadline for your assignment, if you know that you have something, and this is really even another time management tip, is that you have to have a deadline for a project. You have to have a deadline. Once you have marked a deadline, it is your responsibility to reverse engineer and say, okay, If this is my deadline, I know that I want to write 3 pages a day. And if I have to write 3 pages a day, my book is going to be about 50 pages. And how many days a week do I need to start writing? How much time does it take me to write these 3 pages? So you need to pick what days you're going to actually write. It has to be on your schedule, because you're not just going to randomly be like, okay, I'm going to do it. No, you have to have a particular schedule, which is really another tip that I could have thrown in here, is about having a life schedule. You need to say, on this day, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 2 to 4, this is the time that I write. Nobody should bother me during this time. I'm in the library. I am at a coffee shop. I am in my office. I have chosen to stick to these 3 days a week. And this is my sacred time. This is the time that I have put on my schedule. Everybody that is connected to me knows that they should not be bothering me unless it's an emergency, because these are my dedicated times. And really, you should tell your family and your friends and those that are around you that these are my dedicated times to writing. I have goals, I have dreams, and I need to realize them. They can no longer stay in my head, because I said enough is enough. It is time to blast off. And so these are my days that are going to help me to blast off and to reach my dreams even closer. And so pick those writing days, choose those writing times, and stick to those times as much as it depends on you, as much as you can. If there's no emergencies, an emergency is hospital, you're somebody sick, something happens to somebody, that's an emergency. But you say, oh, this new movie came out, and my friends are like, oh, we got to go see it. You don't, because you have a deadline, you have a goal. You don't need to do that. You don't. Nope. You can stick to your writing times. Oh, well, I wanted to go out and I wanted to just hang out. No, you don't. This is a random interference. It's just trying to distract you, because now the enemy and everyone outwardly, externally, now knows that you have this goal, and now you look serious about this goal. And so you have to be one that is protecting this time. As much as it depends on you, protect the time. Obviously, if things come up that are beyond your control, or maybe God wants to show you something, then you yield to that. But if it's if it's something that you can control, then you need to be a person that is disciplined enough that on these 2 days, on these 3 days, on these 4 days, at this particular time, I have a routine. I have a routine set in place. And in my routine, it is embedded inside of me that I will write on these days, right at this particular time. You have to be serious and not flippant about the time. It's not a magical, oh, when I get to it, because chances are you're not going to get to it. Next thing here, time blocking. So when you are choosing these writing times and these writing days, you're going to go into time blocking. And time blocking is pretty simple. This means that you have concentrated work time for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, whatever is your max. You have to figure out what is your capacity for these time blocks. I say that you should start with 2 hours, and within these 2 hours, you're going to set a timer on your phone, you're going to set a timer on your computer, what have you, or on your watch if you don't want to be distracted. And you're going to say, for 2 hours, I'm going to concentrate on writing out these pages. I'm not going to get up from this room. I'm not going to go and get these snacks and go over here and do this. No, for 2 hours, I'm going to put my energy. I'm going to make sure that my mind is centered and my mind is focused on this assignment, on this project. I'm going to use all of my energy to just stay here for 2 hours. And then you're going to take a break for like 30 minutes. And then you're going to jump back in for 2 hours, however long that you've set up on that day that you're going to work. You have to choose, okay, I have to work for 6 hours or 4 hours on this assignment if I want to get to my deadline. This is why I said that you need to have some sort of deadline for your writing project or whatever you are creating. Once you have that deadline, you should be able to know, I got to put in these many hours if I'm going to realize that goal. And so time blocking gives you the ability to be centered and to be focused and to have intentionality to make sure that you reach that goal. And so you're going to set that timer. You're not going to move. You're not going to open up a new tab, because I know lots of us, we like to open up new tabs. If it has nothing to do with that project, if it has nothing to do with that writing assignment, you're not opening up another tab. You're not gonna open up another thing. You're not gonna pull out your phone in the 2 hours. You're not gonna say, oh, I need to check this text message. Oh, I gotta call my friend. Oh, I gotta check my email. In these 2 hours or 3 hours, because some of us we've been able to stretch our capacity. And this is the thing. Once you start building and you start practicing the 2 hours, or even if you have to practice for 1 hour, you practice so that you can build up to the 2 hours. You practice so that you can build up to the 3 hours. Of 3 hours of concentrated work time, your mind is expanding. You're sitting down and you're growing. You're growing in the place of discipline. Now your body is used to you not having your mind wander here and there. And just because your mind is wandering doesn't mean that you need to go when your mind wanders, because that's even the type of generation that we live in, is that, oh, something pops up in our head. Let's Google it really quickly. Oh, this is happening. I could be in that. I'm in that boat too. And so learning how to, learning that during this work time, I am not going to allow distractions to interfere. I'm going to stay still. I'm going to be steadfast. I'm going to endure these 2 hours. After the 1 hour, I'm going to look, I'm like, okay, it's another hour. I'm going to see, okay, it's another hour. Okay, it's another hour. Yeah, it is. You're going to sit there until that 2 hours is done. All right. The number 4, which is going to help you during your time blocking, is reducing distractions. One of the greatest ways to reduce distractions, especially if you're getting your distractions from your phone, is that you got to turn these notifications off. When I'm working on something super serious and I know what my Achilles heel is, or I know what I am vulnerable to, I'm being proactive because I know the things that capture my attention. I know if I get bored where I'm going to turn to. And so I'm going to turn off social media, or I'm going to delete the apps from my phone. I'm going to delete certain apps from my phone. I'm going to turn off notifications for Gmail. I'm going to turn off notifications for iMessage. I'm going to shut all of these things down because I don't want anything to pop up on my screen and then distract me. Sometimes I go as far as just putting my phone on airplane mode, or I just turn the whole phone off. And in the season that I'm in, I don't have too many people that are like that I have to answer to, and so I have that luxury of doing that. Maybe you are a parent, and so you can't just turn off your phone like that, but you can put your phone on do not disturb and have there's things. Well, if you have an iPhone, there's things where there's certain people that can reach you if it's an emergency. So if you want to put your kids on there, that's cool. You want to put your spouse on there, that makes sense. But if you are a person that has the luxury, you have the ability, maybe you're single, maybe you don't have any children right now, you have the luxury, or you don't have too many responsibilities, or you even tell your team, you tell your staff, hey, during these times, they're very sacred to me. And so try not to call me. If there is a person on the team that can reach you throughout the do not disturb, then fine. But there's going to be people that in your circle that know, okay, hey, it's going straight to voicemail. We already know what this is. Like a lot of my family and friends, they already know about me. Some of them just have to call twice because they're like, you know what, I got to reach her. Some of them just, if it's not an emergency, they're not going to call me twice, or they're going to shoot me a text message, or they just know not to bother me because they know that during this time nothing is wrong with me, I'm okay. And that's just how I roll, because I have a serious assignment, I have something that I'm trying to accomplish. So everything that it has been distracting me, if my phone is distracting me, if this computer is distracting me, if mostly it's like these electronics and these apps, get these apps off of your phone if they're not helping you to be productive. Some of us have so many apps on our phone, and your level of productivity has decreased with the increase of apps that are on your phone. You thought that you got that other app so that you can increase your productivity, but instead now you're just more distracted than ever. We need to get back to this life of simplicity. There's only certain things that you need, and so choose what are the top apps that you need for what you're doing in that current moment. What is something that is singular, that if there is an emergency, that people know what the protocol is to reach you. And so be very vigilant about that. After, when you are done with your time blocking, you're done with your writing day, then go into your iMessage, build that into your schedule where you're like, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to be looking at my text messages. I'm going to be answering emails during this time, because I didn't want to be distracted answering an email, then coming back to my project, then answering an email, then coming back to my project. No, you may miss some things and you may lose your train of thought by cutting off your concentration because you went back and forth, back and forth. And Dr. Carolyn Leaf talks about this, I think, a Switch on Your Brain, where she talks about just the multitasking that we do and how sometimes it's actually decreasing our productivity. And so you can go ahead and read that as well. The next thing that I do that is pretty unusual is I do something called all-nighters. Type in the comments hashtag all-nighters or project blocking. When I don't want to break my consistency and I want to get a workbook done because I can produce a workbook in 2 to 3 days. When I want to get that done and published, I'm going to turn off everything. I'm not going to focus on anything but that project. I may stay up all night. I may just, the next day I'm working on the project for like 7 hours, because it's like, when I say project blocking, this means that you're working on a project for 7 days straight, and you're not breaking the consistency. You're going to keep the next day you're going to do the project, the next day you're going to do the project, and based again on your goal, based on your deadline, you're going to know how many days you need to project block. And so again, I know that typically it takes me 2 to 3 days to write, edit, publish a workbook. I'm going to stay up all night till I see this is done, because I have that creativity and I want to ride that momentum of creativity. I want to just keep going, keep going, keep going. And so I'm going to stay on that creative wave, and I'm not going to break that consistency, because I feel like I'm going to be able to break through and and finish this assignment in the next 7 days. And so some of us need to do project blocking, because once we lose that momentum to write this book, it's hard to get that momentum back. This is why I say you got to finish your book in 90 days or less. Give yourself a deadline, which this could be a bonus tip, is that you need to have a deadline. Type in the comments, #deadlines. We had deadlines in school. Our teachers gave us deadlines. Our professors gave us deadlines. I don't know how all of a sudden we became adults and we're like, nah, we don't need deadlines for anything. We could just live our life however we want to live. Absolutely not. You need to have a deadline if you're serious about accomplishing the goal of writing a book. And I tell people that 90-day window typically is going to be your sweet spot. I know for myself that once I miss that 90-day window, and I don't really have a 90-day window because of how much consistency I've built with writing books, but once I miss the window that's for me, I typically get bored and I move on to some other assignment. This is why it's super serious that you project block, or you set 3 months aside where you're like, hey, I'm going to finish this book in 90 days or less. And this is my deadline. And I'm going to stop making excuses as to why I cannot reach that deadline. Again, if it is something that is beyond your control, then that's not you making an excuse. But if it's something that is like, it's in your control, like you could have turned off Netflix, you could have reduced the time that you watched Hulu, you should have probably deleted those apps for the 90 days, because you know that that is your Achilles heel. You know about yourself. You know the impediments that are going to keep you from reaching that goal. You know the things that are going to hinder you from accomplishing your goal. You need to be proactive and not reactive. If you know that when your sister's in town, or when your brothers are in town, or when this is happening, that you just lose all your focus, okay, what are the parameters that need to be put in place so that you don't get off track from your goals? You know who you are. Do some self-assessment. And really, this could have been even just more tips about time management. And time management is you knowing yourself and how to move based off of how you manage your time now. What distracts you? What motivates you? What gives you momentum? What excites you? You're going to work harder to protect your time because of knowing yourself and answering these questions. All right. I hope that this helped. I'm going to go over these tips again. Number one, you are going to make no excuses. Every time an excuse comes up, you're going to debunk that excuse, and you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to use this because this is what I have. And I know that God wouldn't call me to do something and then I have to wait till I have all these things together. What can I do now? What's in my hands now so that I can accomplish this goal? Number two, you're going to have writing days and times. You're going to put on your schedule your specific writing days and times. You're going to share that with your accountability partner or your coach, and you're going to have them keep you accountable for those writing days and those writing times. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to do time blocking. You're going to set 2-hour timers every time that you get into your writing day. You're not going to break your consistency. You're not going to break your focus within these 2 hours, 3 hours, what have you. You're going to reduce distractions by deleting apps, by turning off notifications, by turning off your phone if need be. You're going to reduce whatever distractions cause you to your mind to wander and not stay focused at the task at hand. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull those all-nighters. You're going to have those project blocking. If you can't stay up all night to finish something, I would like block off a whole day where I'm like, I'm only focusing on this project. I'm only focusing on getting this slideshow done. I'm focused on getting chapter 1 done. I'm focused on getting chapter 2 done today. I'm focused all day long. And so if you have the capacity to do that, you should try pulling an all-nighter or pulling, and we pulled these all-nighters when we were in school, but pulling all-nighters or even project blocking, if you can't, if the all-nighter was not enough, you need to project block where you're like, I'm taking 3 days and I'm shutting myself in this room, and in these 3 days I'm gonna get this project done because I'm focused. And I've written books. I've been able to write books in 3 to 4 days because of project blocking, just locking myself in a hotel saying, I'm going to get this done. And really, I gave a bonus tip. Type in the comments, bonus. You need to have a deadline. You're going to manage your time better once you have a deadline. You have something in your face. You are writing on your calendar, this is my deadline. And really, with all of these things, with the writing time block, with the writing times and the writing days, I would even throw this in here with the deadline. Put this on your calendar. Type in the comments, put this on your calendar. Put this on your calendar, y'all. Let the timer be like, just come up and be like, oh, come on. You need to get started. This is ringing right now. This is on your calendar right now. This is a deadline. And let that deadline reminder come to you 2 weeks in advance, a week in advance, so that you're getting those reminders on your phone or wherever you receive your reminders, on your email, what have you, on your computer or whatever else you get notifications on. All right, I hope that this helps. Again, I'm super passionate about time management. That's why this video was longer. So I hope that you were able to get something from this. And I probably have more time management tips. I just wanted to not do as long of a video. But let me know in the comments one thing you're going to just try to implement, because I don't want to overwhelm you. Just try to choose one thing that you're going to implement over the next week. What's one small change you're going to make? And as you make these small changes, you're going to continue to build and you're going to see results. You're going to see fruit. And how do I know this? Is because I've seen it in my own life, because I used to not manage my time that well and just wait at the last minute to do things. But I had to say to myself, enough is enough. All right. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode. I'm going to leave a great legacy in writing with y'all later, and love you like a leader. Talk to you in the next video. Bye.